Good morning, everybody. I'm Barbara Derrick. I'm the Executive Director of Smoke Free SC, and we're very excited to have you here at our July Roundtable. I'm going to turn it over to Tara to introduce our speaker today. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us this hot Friday in July. We're excited to have Aviana Stevens as our presenter today, sharing some great work that she and her coalition down in southern Beaufort County have implemented in their community. So Avi is going to present first, and then at the end of the meeting, Beth Johnson from ACS CAN will join us to do an ACS legislative update. So I'll pass it on to Avi, and I'll let her introduce herself and get started.
Yeah. Hi, my name's Aviana Stevens. I'm a part, like she said, the Lowcountry Alliance for Healthy Youth Coalition. I'm also a member of Teens for Healthy Youth. My role, I'm president at Bluffton High School for the Teens for Healthy Youth Club. I'm also the youth representative for the LCAHY Coalition. So I'm gonna go ahead and screen share. Okay. Can everybody see my screen? Okay. 1 second. Okay. So again, we're from Teens for Healthy Youth, and during this presentation, I'm going to go ahead and just walk you through how we have prevented e-cigarette use through the years. Our little quote, I guess, is "It's all in the strategy." Okay, there you go. Oh, sorry. So if you're unfamiliar with Teens for Healthy Youth, our mission is to promote positive teen health through leadership, positive youth development, peer-to-peer education, advocacy, and community service. You can see we have our 6 area high schools represented in this photo. These 6 area high schools are the schools that have Teens for Healthy Youth Club. We have students, a part of the club at each of these schools. You can see in this photo, we have a lot of our members pictured over here. So the mission for Teens for Healthy Youth is to prevent youth substance use and related risk behaviors. So some of those risk behaviors are depression, teen dating violence, bullying and cyberbullying, internet safety, stress and anxiety, motor vehicle accidents, violence, social media usage, and of course much more. Teens for Healthy Youth, or THY, is a Lowcountry Alliance for Healthy Youth, or the LCAHY Youth Coalition. So, Teens for Healthy Youth is kind of a subsection of just youth of the Lowcountry Alliance for Healthy Youth Coalition. So, Lowcountry Alliance for Healthy Youth is again located in southern Beaufort County, and we are made up of 12 sectors. And of course, Teens for Healthy Youth represents the youth sector. I'm a part of the youth sector. Lowcountry Alliance for Healthy Youth is funded by the Drug Free Communities Grant, or the DFC grant. The goals of the grant is to prevent and reduce youth substance use and related risk behaviors. You can see on this map, these are all the recipients of the DFC Coalition grant. So we're not the only people receiving the grant, but we're one of a couple in South Carolina. So required by the DFC is the 7 strategies of change, because they are proven to bring change to the community. So we're going to walk through each of the 7 strategies of change. And I'm going to go ahead and show you examples of how we've implemented these 7 strategies through Teens for Healthy Youth and Lowcountry Alliance. So strategy 1 is provide information. Strategy 2 is enhance skills. Strategy 3 is provide support. Strategy 4 is enhance access and reduce barriers. Strategy 5 is change consequences, incentives, and decentives. And strategy 6, change vehicle design. And lastly, strategy 7 is to change or modify policies. Okay, so first for strategy 1 is our Lowcountry Alliance e-cigarettes, vapes, and Juuls community forum. So this was a community forum held in 2019 by the Teens for Healthy Youth members, kind of presenting information on e-cigarettes. It was held to both community members, and then it was also done as like assemblies just for the high schoolers and the 6 area high schoolers, in the 6 area high schools. Again, for strategy one, provide information is the smoke-free and vape-free month morning videos. So at the 6 area high schools, we do a morning news. So pretty much every morning, our school produces videos that every single student watches. And many clubs can kind of put clips and advertisements and things like that into the morning news for the student body to see. So what we have done with the morning news is created a little quick informationals about all sorts of like things that we tackle. Of course, for this one, focusing on e-cigarettes, I'm going to show you a clip from the Bluffton High School morning news. So if you just give me a second. Okay, again, this is from Bluffton High School's news. So this one in particular is kind of like an interactive one. So you'll see a questions being asked, and then the students in class could either think of the answer, or sometimes they would call it out, and then the answer followed by more information is given.
True or false? It is only water vapor inside of a vape. The answer is false. Most vaping devices contain and release a number of potentially toxic substances, including metals and volatile organic compounds, some of which have been linked to cell and DNA damage.
Okay, so again, that was just one little example of what we've done on just one of our school's morning news. But it's a great way to get information, especially about like e-cigarettes, out to our student bodies. Okay, next again for strategy one, provide information is our basketball and football PSAs. So THY and LCAHY interns created these fact cards and little information cards relating to how drugs and substances affect athletic performance. So what we did with this information is we worked with WHHI, which is the news network in Hilton Head Island, to create PSAs using we did one with basketball and then one with football athletes. I'll show you an example of our basketball PSA. So we gave the information about like the substances to WHHI, and then they orchestrated the filming, and then we gave feedback on what we thought about the.
Do you know your brain doesn't fully develop until your mid-20s?
Substance use harms brain development, causes mental health disorders, and leads to addiction.
E-cigarettes negatively affect oxygen supply, endurance, and attention.
Marijuana affects reaction time, concentration, and decision making.
Alcohol harms endurance, judgment, and complex motor skills.
Pain medication and substance use increases mental health disorders and leads to addiction.
All of these substances negatively affect brain development and function. Make responsible choices.
Don't let your team down.
Okay, so again, that's just one of our two PSAs. That was our basketball one. This video, let's see if I can close out of this. This video was shown to all of the high schools. It was in the morning news. It was shown just through email and the newsletters and things like that. I can't seem to get out of here. If you just give me 1 second. Is my screen still the YouTube clip?
It is. Maybe could you try hitting your escape key and see if that would take it away?
Oh, okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay, just give me a second. Okay, so again, that was shown at each of our high schools. So it was just a fun little way to get information out and a good way to get our athletes involved in things like this, because you know, it's just like interesting to see the people you watch play sports, and you can kind of recognize your coaches and stuff like that. So it's just a good way to get the information out. Lastly, for providing information is our LCAHY website. So if you're interested, our QR code is right here to the left of the screen. So we have e-news, we create all sorts of resources on, of course, all sorts of matters. Specifically, we have information on e-cigarettes. On the bottom right, you can see we have pictured on our website what it looks like. On the front page, so if you just clicked and scroll down, you'd be able to find all of this. It's a great way if you're interested in learning about what we do, or if you're interested in learning about substances or you need help or resources or anything like that. Our website is a great way. We link our website to all of our fact cards, at all of our events. So it's a great way to get information out, specifically about e-cigarettes as well. Okay, so for strategy 2, enhancing skills, Teens for Healthy Youth teach middle schoolers about the dangers of e-cigarettes using Prevention Plus Wellness program. So you can see on the right, we have our fact cards. These are, sorry, I don't know if you can hear my dog. Nobody's home to have her stop barking, so sorry about that. But again, these are our fact cards to the right of our Prevention Plus Wellness. So Prevention Plus Wellness is a kind of learning program that all of the Teens for Healthy Youth members are certified in. So we learn about all sorts of health tips, like you can see on the fact card. There's exercise, food and nutrition, sleep, substance use, and we use the information we learn to teach the middle schoolers. We also have a program specifically for e-cigarettes, so we're specifically certified in like educating on e-cigarette use. So you can see in the picture to the left is a group of teenagers that went to McCracken Middle School and educated the middle schoolers on the dangers of e-cigarettes. Okay, for strategy 3, provide support. Teens for the Youth, we create Instagram peer-to-peer informational posts. So these are year round. We don't just do them, of course, for smoke free, vape free, but smoke free, vape free is like a big part of our post. We have 2 examples listed below. One being to the left, it gives information about how a lot of teens and preteens think that vaping reduces anxiety, but in reality, it increases anxiety. So it's a great way just to kind of get the information out to our peers. It's created by the peers to kind of be appealing to the peers, especially being on Instagram. A lot of our Teens for Healthy Youth members follow us on Instagram. A lot of kids at school that aren't a part of Teens for Healthy Youth follow the Instagram. So it's a great way to get the information out and to get support out to our youth in our community. Okay, so for strategy 4, enhance access, a big way we do that is translating into Spanish. So you can see on the right, we have our e-cigarettes fact cards. It was translated into Spanish by our interns. The fact cards are created by interns and then translated. Because if you didn't know, Southern Beaufort County has a really large population of Spanish speakers. So it's a great way to get the information out to everyone in our community, not just the English speakers. Another way is the multilingual parent night. You see on the left, we have 2 THY members, Mauricio and Claudia, presenting to Spanish-speaking parents at the multilingual parent night. They presented THY and kind of talked about kind of what I'm doing, what we do with LCAHY and THY, but they did this presentation completely in Spanish. And then later at the multilingual parent night, they handed out resources in Spanish to the parents. So it's a great way to kind of give information out and have access for people who speak Spanish in our community, especially the parents, because we have a lot of students that can speak Spanish and English, but maybe their parents don't speak any English and only speak Spanish. So they're able to kind of learn what's going on with the youth in our community. Okay, again, for strategy 4, reduce barriers and increasing access is our environmental scans of vaping products sold at gas stations. So what we do is groups of Teens for Healthy Youth members go to different gas stations. We've done one in Bluffton, and then we've done one in Hilton Head. So what we do during these environmental scans is we go into the stores and we look at, you know, the e-cigarettes, how they're being sold, how accessible they are to the teens. Is there any signs saying the dangers of e-cigarettes? Is there any signs saying, do they card under 21, or do they not sell e-cigarettes to people under 21? So we write all that information down. And after, we not only write down the information of what we're seeing and taking in at the gas stations, but we're also giving our input, which is important coming from like a youth perspective. of course, if people are youth trying to come in and buy e-cigarettes, or maybe how enticing it would be to buy e-cigarettes at a gas station, like what's our input on how maybe the gas station is doing really good or what they could change. And then kind of leading off of that, we created these incentives for strategy 5 change consequences. So this one specifically we made for Parkers. So it says, we thank Parkers for not selling e-cigarettes to our teens. Out of all the gas stations, Parkers was definitely the most, like they had the best preventions of saying they card under 21, and they had a lot of their substances kind of locked up behind the counter, behind screens. Although, like I feel all gas stations could make improvements, but we made this just to not only thank our like the establishments that were doing well in our community, but it also kind of creates a, if you're a teenager going into a gas station and you're wanting to buy e-cigarettes and vaping products, and you see a sign that says, thanks Parkers for not selling any e-cigarettes, it kind of changes your mind maybe not to purchase any e-cigarettes at this gas station or even attempt to. So it's kind of our motive behind it. Not only are we just thankful to the establishments for, you know, preventing selling e-cigarettes, but also kind of trying to prevent the teens from receiving the e-cigarettes. Okay, for strategy 6, change in physical design, we created posters displayed at the 6 area high schools. So interns created these 2 posters on the left and the right, about 6 reasons to quit vaping. We post these posters in the like high traffic areas of all our schools. So for example, at Bluffton High School where I go, we put them in the stairwells because pretty much every single student goes on the stairwells every single day. At May River High School, they put them in their crossroads, which is just like this little T-shaped hallway that pretty much every student goes through every single day. So it's a great way to kind of get information out to the students, and repeatedly, you know, they're seeing these posters every single day, and maybe it can change some students' minds on, you know, of course not to vape anymore. Okay, moving on to strategy 7, change and modify policies. One of the biggest ways this has been done is LCAHY's and THY's influences led to the town of Bluffton passing an ordinance to include vaping in the smoking regulations. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the news clip of the video of the kind of how the ordinance got passed. You'll see our former Mayor Solka talking about, you know, the reasons why they decided to pass this ordinance. I'm going to go ahead and play this video for you.
Walking around a Bluffton Park or a boat dock, you might need to start leaving your e-cigarettes at home. E-cigarette sales in the U.S. have increased over the years, making it a $3.6 billion industry. Well, tonight, Bluffton Town Council took one step closer to adding the e-cigarettes and vaping to their no smoking ordinance in public places. Meredith Parker is here to break it all down for us tonight. Meredith, is this mostly just a language change?
Dawn, from what I gather, yes. For the most part, they're just clarifying that now where you can't smoke cigarettes, you can't vape either.
All in favor, say by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? That's unanimous, and we'll see its second reading in August.
If this ordinance change passes in August, all signs in public parks and docks that now say no smoking will change to no smoking and no vaping. That includes the use of all e-cigarettes.
The no smoking signs that you see in a lot of these public places only talk about smoking cigarettes, and vaping, it would be a loophole.
Mayor Lisa Solka says the Lowcountry Alliance for Healthy Youth pointed it out to city staff. They decided this language change needed to come with the change in trends.
What you're doing affects people around you, and so many of our residents don't smoke and they don't vape, but if they're around someone like that, it's harmful.
Almost all Bluffton public parks and docks have a smoking ban, but a few are silent on the issue, meaning there's no specific rule against it. Right now, those 2 exceptions are Palmetto Bluff Dock and Oyster Factory Park.
Council was specific on not allowing smoking at parks with playgrounds, but in other areas, I believe you requested that it remain silent, so as to not have any regulations for us to enforce.
Okay, so again, this was, of course, done by Bluffton Township, but former Mayor Solka, she was inspired by Lowcountry Alliance. She really was a good support for us. Town council, of course, always is, and really valued the information. And if you didn't catch in the video, just like one of the big reasons why this was being passed is because of vaping products in parks. You know, if you're vaping, these chemicals can go out into the air towards the kids. They can, sink and land onto the playground equipment, and then later these kids are going and playing on these playgrounds and touching the equipment and breathing in the air. Of course, maybe if somebody's vaping around them. So we thought it was a great change, and we decided that the Teens for Healthy Youth interns work to kind of pass a similar proposal to Hilton Head Town Council. So you can see down below, we have 4 of our LCAHY/Teens for Healthy Youth interns presenting to Hilton Head Town Council to include the vaping in the town smoking regulation. And this was passed in 2024. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you the video of the high schoolers presenting to the Hilton Head Town Council, but just for like little added information beforehand, like our interns, they worked really hard. They had to create, of course, they had to just get reliable information, and they created a presentation that they had to send to town council. Then town council read through it and approved it. And then they had to practice, of course, what they were going to say and making sure that everything was well done. And they did a great job. So I'm going to go ahead and show you this video.
After you're finished speaking. Before I go there, one other thing, since we do have so many people here today, please refrain from any jeers, cheers, applause, anything like that, so that we can continue to move through the meeting expeditiously. So with that being said, do we have people signed up to speak?
Yes, Ben Vaught. And Campanella. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. I'm Amber Van Horn.
I'm Ben Vaught.
I am Jillian Campanella.
I'm Jacob Perky.
We are here today representing the Lowcountry Alliance for Healthy Youth and Teens for Healthy Youth to propose that electronic smoking devices are included in the current smoking regulations of Hilton Head Island's Town Code. In 2018, U.S. Surgeon General Jerome Adams released an urgent advisory stressing the dangers of vaping. The chemical makeup of e-cigarettes are blamed for this crisis. Nicotine is a highly addictive chemical that is at significantly higher concentrations in e-cigarettes than in normal cigarettes. In fact, Elf Bars, the best-selling e-cigarette in the United States at the moment, is equivalent to around 590 cigarettes in one single sold unit. Those who use these devices can be easily addicted to high nicotine concentration, and frequent use can lead to health consequences.
World-renowned research universities have found a variety of health consequences and trends for those who use electronic smoking devices. These include DNA damage linked to oral cancer, higher heart attack risk, and higher respiratory disease risk. Also, research conducted by Columbia University has found a rise in cannabis consumption via vaping devices, which can have long-term health consequences.
So besides this risk for individual users, e-cigarettes can actually have health consequences for those around the user. Similar to smoking, vaping from an e-cigarette can lead to secondhand and third-hand aerosol contact. Secondhand aerosol is a plume of chemicals released to the environment, such as nicotine, heavy metals, ultrafine particles, cancerous chemicals, and even more. When people are exposed to secondhand aerosol, it can lead to cancer, respiratory infections, and even worse than pre-existing asthma. Another threat from e-cigarettes to non-users is third-hand aerosol contact. Third-hand aerosol contact is very similar to third-hand smoke, where chemicals remain on surfaces and in dust to then react with other chemicals in the environment to form toxic chemicals. These potentially harmful chemicals can be exposed to other people, especially small children or animals, through the respiratory system, through ingestions, or through skin exposure.
In 2019, the town of Bluffton successfully took action to address the e-cigarette crisis by including electronic smoking devices in the town's smoking regulations. This response from a local government is the exact same thing that Dr. Jerome Adams asked for in his Surgeon General advisory in 2018, reading that local governments should take action to protect their communities. Implementing electronic smoking devices into the town code smoking regulations sends a clear public health message. Taking this action would protect the environment and the quality of life for Hilton Head Island's residents and visitors. We thank you, Mayor and Council, for your consideration.
Thank you very much.
Lipson.
Mayor, if this, I think, should be an exception. We took the opportunity to give the applause to the group before us who just spoke because their message is clear, concise, and very important to all of us. I just want to also extend the congratulations. I'm so incredibly proud of each of you. Thank you for coming tonight.
Ditto that.
Okay, so as you could see from the video, it was really impactful to town's council, and it was later passed in 2024. I think it's just really important that, of course, we're advocating to make these changes, but I think it's impactful to see teenagers like fighting to make these changes and be so passionate about it. So of course, we're really grateful to the support that our towns of Bluffton and Hilton Head have given us to make changes in our community, specifically around e-cigarettes and vaping. Okay, lastly, for strategy 7, change or modify policies, is the Teens for Healthy Youth. We accept the smoke-free, vape-free month proclamation. So you can see the proclamation down here to the right. This is one from the Hilton Head Town Council and then one from the Bluffton Town Council. And then pretty much the mayor just presents this in front of town council and all of the people attending, and 2 Teens for Healthy Youth members representing the coalition and club go up and accept the proclamation. So of course, all of these actions are important and are great, but we want to kind of see how they're making change and how they're actually affecting our community. So both on the national and local scale, local being specific to Southern Beaufort County, it is seen that, it has been seen that there is a decrease in a 30-day use of tobacco and e-cigarettes, an increase in perception of risk and harm of use, an increase in reported perception of parental disapproval, an increase in reported perception of peer disapproval, and parental disapproval was higher than peer disapproval. And lastly, our latest project is our Lowcountry Alliance. Southern Interns, last summer we created a project and we've launched it with partnership with the dentists and doctors. So you see the fact card that we had created to the left about how e-cigarettes can affect oral health. Our goal was to get this put into the dentist offices, and we created a letter, and we have now most recently this summer gone in and talked to a lot of our dentists and doctors, and we've gotten a lot of positive feedback and support, and it's great that we're kind of on the tail end of getting this project done. So yeah, it's been a great way to kind of get this information out to our dentists and doctors offices and kind of have a little bit of a foot in that area. So thank you, Smoke Free Free, for having me and for the opportunity to just spread awareness about how Teens for Healthy Youth created a safe, healthy, and vape-free environment for our youth here in our community. Again, my name is Aviana Stevens. I'm a member of both Teens for Healthy Youth and Lowcountry Alliance. So I don't know if anybody has any questions, but I'll definitely answer some if there's any.
Thank you, Avi. What a great presentation. It's great to see everything you've done down there, and I'm also just really impressed with the changes that y'all have made in the community. So we'll open it to questions. Anybody have any? Avi? Dr. Keeley does, yeah.
Yes, great information, great strategies. I love the multi-pronged efforts. And what I question is on the one of the last slides where you listed the changes in teen 30-day use and parental disapproval. And do you have trend data over how many years do you have that data? Or is this just the one-time results from a survey?
I'm not sure if we have trend data. I know Dr. Novice is here. I don't know if she can hear, but she might have a better answer for that question.
Yes, Dr. Keeley, this is Dr. Novins. I'm a psychologist and a consultant for Lowcountry Alliance and for Teens for Healthy Youth. And since 2014, we have worked to administer the Community Set Care Survey through our high schools in southern Beaufort County. And so I would say that we have had data from maybe 2017 to 2025. And all of this data is evaluated through our evaluators in Washington, D.C., at the CDC and ONDCP. So we are, very proud of the changes. We also noted that during COVID, of course, there was an exponential decrease in some of the substances, but after COVID, we've also seen that decrease. The one I would say concern that we will continue to have is really enforcing that there are dangers around the use of using vaping paraphernalia, et cetera, whether that's vaping nicotine or marijuana, whatever. So we have found out recently that through our schools that our middle schoolers are vaping, which is now another trend that we're going to have to monitor. And we're also proud of the fact that we will be launching Teens for Healthy Youth in the middle schools in the fall. So there will be more of a focus on vaping and the dangers and effects with our middle school students.
That's great. Oh, just one follow-up. Yeah, do you have any way with your data to see in the high schoolers who or what the percentages are that are just vaping nicotine and and then separately those who are vaping both marijuana and nicotine?
We're kind of limited in that data at this point.
Okay.
We do have, I would say, some preliminary data that we have collected through focus groups.
And with your trends, do you have the ability to do any statistical tests to see if you have a statistically significant decrease in any of those areas?
Yes, that is done through our DFC evaluators in Washington, D.C., and through the CDC. There are probably about 1,000 of these drug-free coalitions in the United States. All of our data is submitted to them, and then they analyze the data for each of the coalitions and give us a readout on each of our coalitions' data. And so we are seeing a significant change, not only in our coalition here, but in other drug-free coalitions throughout the United States.
I just, as a first-time observer or listener, and sometimes putting the word statistically significant decrease can impact some of your audience to know that it's statistically significant. Just a thought.
Okay, that's a great observation.
Yeah. And finally, the funding for drug-free communities at the federal level, is it going to be okay?
Yes, I think so. The Drug-Free Communities Grant is approved through Congress. It's a congressional grant. So we are very hopeful that there will be continued support from what we understand at this point in time.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Yeah. Keep up the great work. Thank you for your part in it. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I just wanted to add that Avi had indicated that our summer interns this year are actually launching the dentist initiative, and that FAT card has been edited a bit, so there will be some changes in how that is presented. It's been approved by a number of our dental practitioners, including 2 of our pediatric dentists and 2 of our trying to think of the other specialist in the community. I don't have that in front of me now, but that's going to be launched here soon in the month of August. So we're very excited. The Teens for Healthy Youth and the interns are very, very excited about the launching of this information. And they've received wonderful feedback from the pediatric dentist saying this is definitely needed. This information needs to be given to not only the youth that they see, but to their parents.
Hey, the state dental association might be interested if you contacted them to see, what you've created. And just like the state chapter for American Academy of Pediatrics shows great interest in these efforts, you might want to share this creation, with both of those organizations for further dissemination.
Well, thank you for that recommendation. I know that was also recommended through one of the dental practices also. So we will be following up with that.
Great.
Any other questions? Thank you, Avi, so much. And thank you, Dr. Novance, for jumping in and giving us some additional information. We really appreciate it. And as Tara likes to remind everybody, we will have this presentation and the PowerPoint, I believe, up on our site in a couple of weeks.
Beth's here to do her presentation as well.
Yeah.
Or her update.
Yeah. I just was turning it over to you.
Sorry. I got ahead.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Also, I saw the chat. So thank you everybody for the support in the chat. I appreciate it.
Great.
Thank you again, Avi. All right, so we'll pass it over to Beth, who's here from ACS CAN, who will give us a legislative update from her end.
Thank you, Tara, and happy Friday, everyone. Goodness, I don't know that I have a whole lot of updates, but I'll share some news of what we are hearing around the country on from the Office of Smoking and Health, and also from South Carolina's legislature, as well as other state legislatures on tobacco prevention and control efforts and funding. Tara mentioned that I'm with the American Cancer Society, Cancer Action Network, and I'm the government relations director that covers South Carolina. And I am working part of the larger team in the Southeast. So we have some insight and knowledge to our Southeast neighbors as well. So the General Assembly in South Carolina is not in session right now. Of course, we don't go back in until January. And there's some different meetings happening throughout the state with individual legislators around the issues of access to care and prevention and early detection. And so the topic of tobacco is starting to come up a little more as we recognize that the state will not be receiving the federal dollars from the Office of Smoking and Health and through the federal government. So that funding stream was, I think, around $2.6 million. And we are not 100% sure yet how that will impact our state, but I know that our friends with Department of Public Health, Tobacco Prevention and Control Unit are trying to figure out what we can continue doing, and perhaps we can continue doing everything, and we'll have to kind of work with them and other teams to figure that out. It was an interesting question that you asked, Dr. Keeley, about the funding, because we are seeing funding cuts across the board out of CDC and potentially out of NIH, although we don't know what those cuts will look like. Definitely. One thing that we are hearing is when it comes to prevention and control efforts through the CDC, that we are hearing to expect funding cuts. So again, we don't know what that's going to look like. There's still a lot of uncertainty, but our teams that work on tobacco prevention and control at the federal level and our federal lobbyists are all just really tuned in to see what that's going to mean for our state. We are having conversations, though, with state legislators to make them aware that as these funds are cut, that means obviously that the state will either have to pick up the funding stream or the programs in the state will be cut. We don't expect South Carolina to go into a special session. There has been rumors that they may, but I don't expect them to go into a special session to address any of those funding cuts or streams. What I do anticipate is that when the General Assembly goes back into session in January, I feel that we will have to have a legislative ask to offset the loss in funding that the state has received. The other things that we keep working through, and I'm Avi, I didn't hear but a short part of your presentation, but I'm going to go back and listen to it because I'm excited and I love the Lowcountry and I'm excited about what you all are doing. When we think about and keeping in mind the top 3 policy regulation changes that have an impact on prevention and control, local is so important. And so thank you for what you guys are doing. We know that in South Carolina, we can still pass local smoke-free laws. We know that we can still work on some local ordinances. And so while we still have the chance to do that, I just encourage everyone to be focused on that right now, to focus on our local work and what we can do locally. And thinking about the bigger picture of our state, while South Carolina does have a budget surplus, is the timing right for us to talk about, tobacco taxes? And we're not sure yet if that's a possibility, but I think it is most definitely time for us to start having those discussions. So quick update, not a whole lot of new information to share right now, but certainly happy to take any questions.
Well, Beth, as you know, I mean, we are one agency that's already been impacted by DPH's loss of federal funds. So
Yes.
for those of you who don't know, Smoke Free SC lost their contract, which was around $680,000 this year. So I'm sure there are other organizations that will start getting hit too.
Yeah. And that message is one that we just have to elevate to legislators because they're not hearing it with all the noise. And I could be wrong about this, but I don't think they quite understand the impact that it's going to have on our state.
No.
I don't think that they've thought that all the way through yet.
I was at a retreat earlier this month or earlier this week, and we were talking a lot about collecting data on the impact these things, where we are now and what we've done, and then, starting to collect data over the next year or 2 or whatever long this lasts on what the impact has been. So I guess that's something that all of us need to think about in our jobs.
Any other questions?
One last.
Sorry, Beth, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say one last plug, just for Smoke Free SC. Thank you guys for all the work y'all are doing and just staying steady and just know that our team appreciates it. And I would also like to announce that we're super excited to have Tara Bell joining us for our National Leadership and Summit and Lobby Day in September. And so just know that you will have Tara representing you in DC, talking to folks and educating them about the importance of tobacco prevention and early detection and control. So thank you, Tara, and thank you, Barbara and team.
Thank you.
Hey, I want to just jump in again. I don't know, maybe Beth, you're aware, there's a yard sign tool that is particularly good for middle schools that maybe the folks in the Lowcountry might be interested in looking at. Kelly Lamb sent me an email, I think it was yesterday, and she included a PDF which showed the series of signs. that could be placed along the car drop-off. I don't know how many students in the Lowcountry area are brought to school in a vehicle, a personal vehicle, a family vehicle. But if there's a number of folks that end up in a car line, these signs, address messaging for kids and for parents, and they're well done. There's a website where more information can be obtained, and I think they may need to be locally adapted with a QR code that folks can then be led to further information. So Beth, are you aware of this?
I know we haven't seen it, Dr. Keeley. Yeah.
Kelly
Yeah.
just sent it yesterday, and
Yeah.
I got copied on it, and I was going to talk with you about it today, Barbara.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe it's something we can post or send out to the people who attended.
Yeah,
if
I can
they're
forward
interested.
it out.
If it's okay with Kelly, let's ask first.
Dr. Keeley,
Yeah.
our youth coalition has used that strategy where they will post signs where parents are dropping off youth. However, they've done it at the high school level. Now that they're going to be creating a Tweens for Healthy Youth at the middle school, I'm sure that will be launched soon. And it is a great strategy because they sit in those lines for quite a while. They're waiting. So yes, we have experimented. We've used that strategy. So thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll look into it, and maybe, that'll be something that would be a useful tool to incorporate. I love the QR code idea. And so that's, that kind of take a look at that too.
Yeah, and that does work. I know the QR code is posted on those signs for the yard signs, and I know we use grant money to purchase the yard signs for all of the Teens for Healthy Youth chapters. And it is another wonderful tool or strategy to use, so I highly recommend it.
Right.
Thank you.
We haven't implemented this idea, but during a brainstorming session one time, Barbara and I talked about using yard signs at elementary schools. Not so much about, prevention, but awareness about secondhand vape aerosol exposure for the parents who are vaping in the cars with their students. So you could use it for almost any grade level. You would just adapt to what those needs are.
Yeah, I think that's true because sometimes kids at elementary schools have older siblings, and maybe you'll catch a parent or adult caregiver that has older children that the information can be useful. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea. We've heard from a lot of our elementary and middle school where car drop off is more popular about kids coming to school, and you can smell, more specifically marijuana or THC on the students for where the parents use those products in the car. So that awareness would be great. Any other questions or comments? Does anyone have anything to share about information or activities that are going to be happening in their area soon?
Well, I mean, we're up in York County. We're working with a firm, professional marketing and communication firm, and going to be doing a series of podcasts and more aggressive social media messaging about vaping, and particularly focused on the influx of tobacco retailers in our area, and educating voters about opportunities to support new ordinances to slow down the influx of tobacco retailers near to schools and parks where kids are, and also in neighborhoods where there's a high density of tobacco retailers to try to impact that. So we'll, over the next 3 to 4 months, we'll be able to report in on how things are going. Yep.
All right, if no one else has anything to share, we can end and let you get back to your Fridays. As Barbara mentioned earlier, we are recording this website. We'll post it on our website soon, so you can rewatch or share with anyone else. Thanks for joining us today. I hope you all have a great weekend.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.
Bye, Brenda. Thanks for joining us.
Bye-bye.